Quick bit of background about something new that we're trying here on the Vet Vault. Anyone who listens to this podcast will know by now that I've become a bit of an AI enthusiast. I'm very curious about how it can make my life as a vet and yours easier, better. That is, after all, why we started this podcast. But all of this can be overwhelming, with a bunch of new AI-based tech products rushing our way, each of them promising to provide us with just the solution we've been looking for. And sometimes, too many options can be paralyzing. If there are too many choices, then the easiest option can be to do nothing. But now is not the time to do nothing. I'm Hubert Hemstra, and you are listening to the Vet Vault Tech Series, where we find the newest and shiniest tech tools for veterinarians and take them for a test drive so that you don't have to. So, here's what we're doing. I will go sniff out interesting new solutions, experiment with them, and if I think they have potential to be useful to you, I'll get someone from that company on the podcast and get a bit of a product run through. I'll ask questions, as I do. The goal being to create a series of episodes that can serve as a reference for you when you need to make decisions about how AI fits into your day-to-day vet life. I hope you find it useful. Let me know if you do. And by all means, if you come across a product that you think looks cool and you'd like us to do a deep dive into it for you, let us know at info@thevetvault.com. Note that there is going to be some video involved in this. We will screen share usually with our guests. So if you can, listen to this or /watch it on Spotify, where there's going to be a video so you can keep up with what we are doing. But the bulk of the information will still be completely clear by just listening. Oh, and just to be clear, in this tech series, we are not promoting any of these products. These are not paid sponsorship slots or ads. Every man and his AI is already sending me emails saying, can we be on the podcast? Because they know the caliber of person who listens to the Vet Vault and they want to get into your ears. But I have a rule that I will only do paid promotions for things that I personally use on an ongoing basis and love. And I do not have time to use all of the things that I plan to review. My goal is purely to help you answer some questions about these products, to help you make decisions about what fits with your needs. At some point in the future, we might find a way to monetize this, but this episode is not an ad or an endorsement, just a deep dive. Okay, let's get into it. I almost called you Dr. Kevin Cohen. I'm so used to talking to doctors. I start most conversations with Dr. Kevin Cohen. Kevin.
Definitely not a doctor, definitely.
We've been talking a lot on the Vet Vault about AI in broad terms and principles, and I'm really interested in how good it is and how can we use it. But now I want to make a guide for people, almost like not a review of whether it's good or bad, but how do we use these tools? And I want to get really granular with specific tools and the most common ones out there.
Yeah.
And I've been playing with VetRec, so let's dig into VetRec. So it's an AI scribe, which we just said off air that you and me both assume that everybody knows what an AI scribe is. For anybody who doesn't know what an AI scribe is, you record your consults and other stuff, and it turns all of that into a lovely summarized clinical note, so you don't have to sit and type records until late at night. But VetRec's become more than that. That was sort of the first thing. When AI became a thing in vet science, we jumped on that bandwagon. It's like, oh shit, there's this thing that's going to save us so much time. And for anybody who's not using an AI scribe, I'm not plugging VetRec specifically, you're an idiot. Use the scribe. You're saving yourself a lot of time. I don't know. I hate writing notes. Maybe I'm extreme in my opinions on it, but it's made me much happier as a vet to have AI make my notes for me. But you guys have become quite a bit more than just the scribe. And I want to go through a couple of things. Let's start with that. 2025, what are the cool new things that VetRec has that we might not know about?
Yeah, no, so great. So I think, and this is something that we initially said from the very beginning, which is we want to start with an AI scribe because, like you said, it's the ability for you to record the conversation and generate this beautiful consultation medical record. We realized that from the very beginning, the scribe was just the start. It was just like the wedge for us to provide even more help to that veterinary professional or to even maybe the clinic as a whole. And so I'm going to demonstrate you some of the things that we've added over the past couple months that now transcend towards that scribe piece and into more of this advanced AI, if you will, to be able to help with insights, recommendations, reminders, and all of these things that are, again, fundamentally different from just generating a medical record and helping at different stages of the workflow.
Before we move to new things, can I quickly just ask you on the scribe functionality? One thing I always want to know is, if I start a visit, so I've got Poppy on the screen here, and I then go, so let's say I do a consult with Poppy and I admit her because I want to do a couple of things. And now I go see my next 3 consults, and then I come back and do Poppy's ultrasound and bloods and stuff. Can I just open Poppy again and keep recording and it will update my notes for me?
Yeah, so one of the things that we have, if you see right there, there's a button that says add to visit. And so this was like a very common request long time back where people wanted to add more information to that original consultation that they recorded, either by having a separate procedure like an ultrasound or a phone call conversation, or even maybe adding more to the original medical record just from like a plan perspective. And so the ability to continue to improve and add and contextualize more information to that original case is very easy to do with VetRec. And allows you to have a more complete like history and record keeping of everything that you actually did for that patient. So yeah, just like that, you can do it.
I said add to visit. So if I say add to SOAP notes with physical,
if you click there, so the 2 drop down that you saw there were the different notes that you've already created. So the one that you selected was your main note that you have. So if you click, for example, on the notes tab, you'll actually be able to see all the different notes that you've created for Poppy at like the top tab that you have there. And then if you click to the existing one, it basically will add more information to that original medical record. If you wanted to add, for example, a completely new medical record, for example, an abdominal ultrasound report, then you would go and you would add a new note. And so now for Poppy, you would have multiple notes depending on, again, the different case issue that you were wanting to record at that given point.
I like the idea of the multiple notes within. So if I go to my all visits, I've only got Poppy here, but I would see a list of all my patients down here. And if I click into Poppy, I will get all, I will see my ultrasound report, my blood gas report.
Exactly. Cool. So if you click on notes right there at the top of the screen, it says notes in the tab, like at the very top in the main. You'll see there like the different notes that you have. So here you have your regular SOAP notes with physical exam that you can modify, you can edit, you can improve. And then you see that there's a button there that says new note. So assuming that you would have more notes there, all of them would actually show there. So once you click on Poppy, it would actually show all the different various notes that you have there if you were to have recorded multiple. So
gotcha. That's very cool. I will also highlight when I was playing yesterday, I did see your dictation functionality where you can actually, so did I understand that correctly? So I can now then go into this note, click, it says, additional notes not mentioned. I could click there and then start dictation and then it'll just, that's really cool because it does. The one that I use, I have to go in and edit it manually. I'm like, I don't feel like typing anymore. I don't type anymore.
You don't type anymore, right? That's what we heard. It's like, it's actually super cool what you're saying because, 2 years ago, you would ask a veterinarian and you would explain this and they would be like mind blown, right? But now you're talking to a veterinarian and you show them an initial product version and they're like, what else can it do? Can it do this? Can it do this? Can it do that? And so now they're expecting a lot more. And like you're saying, like, now I'm not typing. Like you wouldn't have said that 2 years ago. You would have still typed, but like stuff is changing so fast that now like people are saying like, I don't want to type. So like you better create more features for me to not have to type ever again.
That's cool. Quick break to tell you about something exciting for the vet vault. I am obsessed with using AI to help me make better clinical decisions. But something that I'm learning more and more is that the smarter you get, the smarter AI gets. So we'll keep making our clinical continuing education podcasts so that you can learn and grow without having to commit hours and hours of your precious free time. But sometimes you do really want to level up with structured education and maybe even another qualification, like memberships or even specializing, which is where our advanced surgery podcast, A Cut Above, fits in. Made for surgeons who want to really level up their surgical theory and set at the level of the Australia-New Zealand College of Veterinary Surgeons surgery membership exams, but also great for interns, residents, and anyone feeling imposterish with their surgery knowledge. And, big announcement, A Cut Above has partnered with Sydney University's CVE surgery course. Everyone who signs up for their full bells and whistles course will get, as of early 2026, complimentary access to A Cut Above. We are working in the relevant episodes into their course structure to complement whatever topic you're covering in the course to provide additional study material, broader in-depth explanations of tricky concepts, and just a way to get all of that information into your head without having to sit on your ass at a desk all day. Email us at info@thevetvault.com for more, or click the surgery link that I've put for you in the show description. What's this insert snippet button?
Yeah, so that is another of the big features that we released recently. So one of the things that people told us is that they want to create a medical record. They want to create a discharge note, for example, but they want to keep a specific set of predefined text that they always use, for example, for a particular case. So let's say that they saw a case for a dog that had cancer. And so there's a common blob of text that you always use for a specific type of cancer that you literally just want to copy paste the monitoring or the definition of that cancer. And so you don't want to like copy paste every single time that. And so what you do with VetRec is you basically tell VetRec, by the way, here are all these snippets that I have for an acute diarrhea case, for a cancer, for a lymphoma, for whatever like the common things that you like want to have on every single time. And what VetRec's AI does is it detects what you said in that conversation. And if your template instructs our AI, hey, by the way, I want you to dynamically add a snippet on this template, then what happens is if we detected that you talked about acute diarrhea and you have a snippet that you always want to give clients about what acute diarrhea is, we automatically will insert that for you.
That's very cool. I like that.
And so it's contextualizing what you want. Again, the whole premise of VetRec is we don't want to dictate how you do medicine. It's how can we adapt and give you all these tools to make it so smooth for you and how you like to practice and what you like to have on a specific set of notes.
Very cool. And as you say, I can just dictate in there if I wanted to start dictation or record.
And you can always dictate if you want. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. And so there's a couple of other stuff that I guess I can show you as well that transcend a little bit into that AI scribe. So for example, for those who are seeing this, there's this a bell that has like a red dot at the top right.
Yep.
This is what our insights and recommendations feature is now coming. And I don't know what recording you had. I don't know if you click on the billables, it actually will show something because I don't know exactly what you recorded. But in theory, what happens here is we detect, we did here. Great. So we detect what you talked and automatically give you tasks or insights into the conversation that you had. So for example, there's a couple of things that we do from like a billables point of view. Hey, we detected that you talked about XYZ. Out of all of these things that you talked, there's these 3 items that we know are billable items based on your clinic's practice that we want to surface for you so that you make sure that you eventually add into that practice management software or whatever, and you don't forget to add those treatments or diagnostics or medications that are billable items. Or even stuff like tasks. For example, you said you were going to follow up with the owner and you were going to call them on that particular day. Now VetRec will ingest that into the system and automatically remind you, hey, by the way, Dr. Hugh, we actually heard that you were going to follow up with this client. Have you actually done that? So it's like a nice way, again, transcending on that AI scribe, but it all starts from the AI scribe in ways that we can now help you not only with the medical record, but fundamentally after or before or in different stages of that workflow to make that process even more smooth for you. So
2 questions. Please remind me to ask you about the to-do list, where I'm going to find that. But here, so it lists my cytology smear or whatever. Bill, so if I'm integrated with whatever PIMS I'm using, will it do it automatically? Like how integrated is it?
Correct. So, and this is like a big question, right? One that I'm not going to lie to you about. So for those PIMS who are like very open with like integrations, and I know, for example, you brought in Dr. Caleb from Instinct a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yep.
They're incredible partners to us. For example, we release an integration with them where it's like a true integration. It's a read and write integration where we have, without getting too technical, the API level integration where we can actually make stuff like, for example, bill and all of these things really interchangeably well with that practice management software. Okay. There's others that we do certain things, but this bill button, for example, might not show up or it'll actually not work for those other systems that we don't have like deep integrations. We have integrations for medical record rights, but when we go to like a set of other stuff, that's where it's like some don't. We're always happy to partner with more, but not everyone wants to partner. So
do you mentioned Instinct. Are there ones that are fully integrated that you're happy to mention, just for if somebody's listening?
So Instinct is a great partner, and we have lots of customers that are on Instinct as well that are very happy with the integrations that we have. We have what we call a two-way communication. So we're able to read information from Instinct, and we're able to write information to Instinct.
Gotcha.
So the classic example of writing back is, well, you write back the medical record. The classic example of reading is, for example, you sync your appointments. Mm-hmm. So you have a lot of appointments in Instinct already of your day, and then you click a button in VetRec. It doesn't show here because your account is not set up with that. Yep. And it'll actually be able to bring those appointments directly to VetRec. And for example, you have Poppy here. You would have Poppy, Fluffy, Mr. Wiggles, Joey, Jimmy, like all automatically pulled up from that PIMS that we have. Wow. And we have this with other PIMS. With Cornerstone, for example, we have a read as well. So there's some that we do. There's some that there's hacky ways around it that we've done. But yeah.
The one I want to ask about, only because it's quite a big one in Australia, and I did see it on your website, EzyVet. How integrated are you guys with them?
Yeah, EzyVet is a great example. So we don't have a read notion of integration with EzyVet, but we've developed this Chrome extension that is very simple for a user of VetRec to open EzyVet and to open VetRec side by side and essentially transfer the medical record contents into the different EzyVet boxes that we have. We actually pioneered this long time ago, and I know that some others have followed after. But again, it's this, I don't like to always use like the word integration because I know it has like different meanings, right? Like it's not a true integration if you think about it, but we do integrate in a way that we do put the medical record in EzyVet very easily without, for example, the user having to copy paste a lot of things. So,
all right, quickly, just looking at the output here, you guys have a ton of built-in templates, obviously. Mm-hmm. I can modify those templates. If I have the template that I love, can I modify it to have my exact template? And then that deduces
everything? Correct. So the whole point of VetRec is that we give you a predefined set of templates if you want to just use those. But with the template builder, you can actually create any type of templates. You can see the ones that we have. You can modify them. And it's really super, super customizable. It's one of the things that we pride ourselves the most, where we give that control to the user. We let you specify exactly what you want to have in each particular field in your template.
I'm going to jump around a bit and you can come back to stuff that you want to talk about. I noticed phone. So if I can record my phone call, which is super useful as well because you spend a lot of time on the phone.
Yeah.
I actually did it the other day on the one I use. I held my phone next to my phone that I was recording on next to the phone.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
So do you make the phone call from VetRec? Yeah. To explain the technical side of it. How does it work?
Yeah. So essentially, that is precisely the reason why we built this feature. We had lots of specialists and ER doctors that are using VetRec. They really love VetRec. And they were telling us, hey, by the way, I want to talk to the client, but I'm in the ICU. Or I'm in this place where it's impossible for me to talk out loud with anyone because there's too much noise. And so, they were putting stuff on speakerphone. They were putting on the microphone. And it was like a not great experience. And from that, it stemmed the fact that, hey, what if we actually give the ability for the user to make a call to the client and have the client answer and have both sides of the conversation be recorded. So I don't know if you want to get too technical into like how the architecture works and whatnot, but the whole premise is that you are making the call to the client and the client will hear a message basically saying that this call is getting recorded and whatnot. But the beautiful thing is that the client will see the caller ID that you want them to see on the phone number that you upload. So what that means is that if you have a clinic, you will go to VetRec and you will verify your number with us so that we know that Dr. Hubert has a clinic where the phone number is 5555 and the caller ID when they call to a client says Dr. Hubert's Animal Hospital. And so when we make the phone call through VetRec that your client picks up, it'll say Dr. Hubert's Animal Hospital is calling. And that's like a key thing for them to, believe that it's actually you and not like a scam call. And then once they pick up, you have the conversation, both sides of the conversation get recorded. Once any person hangs up, You get the medical record, or you get the phone call summary, or you get whatever template you want to have, but you don't need to put things in speakerphone. You don't need to go somewhere else to make the call. You just pick up your phone or pick up your landline or do it from the website itself, and VetRec will do it for you.
Okay, so I don't need to get any special hardware in terms of phone.
No.
It's just my
you can
normal
even
phone.
use your phone.
Yep.
So you can see here in the screen that it says that VetRec can call you at and then client number. So for example, if you were to put your phone number in the field that says call me at, what VetRec's going to do is VetRec's going to make a call. It's going to call your phone number, your iPhone, for example. You're going to pick up. It's going to say, hey, we're connecting you to your client. Your client is going to pick up. It's not going to see your personal phone number. It's going to see Dr. Hubert's Animal Hospital phone number, even though you're making the call through your personal phone.
What? That's cool.
And then everything gets recorded, and then you have the medical record. Yeah, super cool.
So I'm speaking on my phone, but it's recording in here. I'm just trying to understand what the flow looks like. I'm sitting at work. I've got my computer open on VetRec. I've got my clinic phone next to me. I start the call on VetRec, and then it calls my clinic phone, and I pick up. Is that right? Or
correct?
Okay,
correct. Exactly that. And then once you pick up, it says, "Hey, we're connecting you to your client." And then we make the call to your client. And once your client picks up, it says, "Hey, this call is getting recorded," or whatever message you want the client to hear the first time. And then the conversation connects and says, "Hi, this is Dr. Hubert. I just wanted to follow up on Fluffy because we saw XYZ. Oh, thank you very much." Cancelled. That's it.
Freaking cool, mate. Just while I'm on the screen, the multi-pet function as well. So we've got, is that for Mr. Smith comes in with her 3 dogs to vaccinate?
Correct.
And because that is always an issue, because it's sort of awkward to go, "Excuse me, can I just pause and open a new visit for the next dog?"
We don't want you to do that. Exactly.
Okay. So all I do, I click it, I add patient 1, 2, and then VetRec listens, and it's smart enough to realize which pet I was treating for that visit. Is that right?
Correct. And we do that automatically for you, and then medical records get generated for each particular patient. So
very cool.
Basically streamlining the work for you so that you don't need to worry on any random manual stuff. So
yeah. All right, let's get into the fancier stuff. Let me go to my visits. Where did I find Puppy again? There we go. So when I'm in my patient, I've got all these things up here: overview, records, recap, notes, client. So talk me through what so the notes, that's my SOAP note that I want in the computer. Yeah. So this is what I'll either export to my PIMS if I'm integrated, or copy paste. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
Client. So these are client handouts. Am I right?
These are the client handouts that you can also change different formats. For example, you can make it a little bit more official, a little bit more technical, less technical, a little bit more friendly, or maybe for a kid. Like, you can customize how you want those discharges to be generated. But again, you can also include the snippets, which is that scissors that you see there.
Yeah.
But it's basically a different type of document based on the same information.
So how do I change the output? Let's say I have it is, as you say, I want a bit more detail or just a brief summary. Where do I go to do that?
So you can go to actions. All the functions in VetRec on the top right, there is going to be always a button that says actions. And then you can regenerate this document, and you can choose, you can also change the language. If you have a different speaking client, you can change the language. Or exactly how you're doing here, you can go and you can change, "Hey, actually, I want an email communication," or "Hey, actually, I want this or that." And again, it depends on the templates that you have in your system. But
so is RDVM, is that referral?
That's a referral. Yeah.
Fantastic.
And again, that's the ones that we have in our system, but you might want your own RDVM discharge. And again, this is where you can customize it however you want and let VetRec just generate it. So,
okay, that's really cool. All right, so that's notes, that's client handouts, transcript if I want to see the full transcript. So I'm interested in analysis. I had a look at this. So that's a new thing.
Yeah. So that's something that we're starting. And basically, it's a little bit to what I was telling you before in terms of these tasks, these billables, right? And essentially, the thing that we want to do here is make the information a little bit more accessible to that doctor, right? And so what was discussed? What are the things that you probably should look for? What are the things that you said you were going to follow up? What are the different medications? What was approved? What was not approved? And so it gives that context information of everything that happened, so that if you need to go back, for example, it's very easy. You don't need to go through a long medical record. You don't need to go through all the transcript. You don't need to go through all the recording. It's very easily being pulled in a way that you know what's going on. And then from there, we can go and we can get a little bit more into coaching and educational and all of these things about like suggestions and for example, the speaking rate and like how fast a person was speaking, how slow a person was speaking. Not all the time, but
apparently I speak fast.
I also speak very fast. And I think one key important here is that one key thing is that it's not about us telling you like, hey, you're speaking fast, it's bad. Because I think one key thing that you see there, for example, is we also display to you your client's words per minute.
Yes.
So if your client is speaking super fast, you probably want to speak super fast as well to be able to like match that tone with your client. If your client is speaking super slow and you speak super fast, that's when there's probably a mismatch on like, hey, look, like you are probably speaking a little bit faster than what your client is speaking and they might not understand you. So all of these like insights into how stuff can be better, I think it's eventually where VetRec really stands out and where we want to go, which is, again, like you said, it's an AI assistant, right? It's more than a scribe. It's all of these things that we can do to help the user be more enjoyable when using this.
So I was just trying to think how to it's really cool. How to integrate this? How does this become part of my workflow and what's it for? Is this for next time Poppy comes in, I can come back into this visit. Am I going to delete visits from VetRec initially, or is all this information going to go into my PIMS? How do I make this useful? Because the way I see it right now is I could come next month when Poppy comes back. Before I start my visit, I could come in here and go, oh, what was the primary concern again? Oh, I see you've got this overview button as well, where I can get a quick summary of what we've got. Or is it supposed to live in the PIM somewhere? Because if it's at the moment, I'm going to spend much more time on VetRec than on my PIMS.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any intention of us to bring these analysis parts to the PIMS. I think this is more of like the personal side of things. The analysis is more like your account, your personal side of things, for you to, like you said, come back and view things very easily, or for you to understand how you, in a way, said things if you wanted to take note of that and maybe change things for the better next time. For example, the speaking pace is just one area, and we have other stuff coming in that I'll hold off on saying for now, but like essentially what are other things that we can do to present you information that you can maybe take action on for next time to be better.
So you envisage that my visits are going to stay on VetRec. I can go almost like a PIMS. It's gonna. I'm gonna grab. So the idea is not that we don't want to delete stuff at some point to make space for more. It stays on there.
We don't delete stuff. We only delete stuff if you click that red box.
Which is it's a different take, because when I started using not dictation, but AI record scribes, I had no purpose for them. Once I got my notes, I had no purpose to go back to them. So I'd go clear the decks every now and again. So I'm done with that. Versus this is, I am going to come, as I said, before the visit, I want to come back and scroll through here and look at the overview.
Right.
And remind myself what we were doing. And as you say, maybe look at, I should speak a bit slower with this client. There was a mismatch or something.
Right.
Is that what you envisage how we use this?
Yes, exactly. Because of course, like patients are all related to clients. And then of course, we can then give you some analysis of the client itself, so that you can better be prepared the next time you see this client based on what happened before, so that you can go and you can take action on how you want to approach that client for even better satisfaction.
Now, in these boxes, I keep seeing D.A.V.I.D, and we touched on it last time. What does D.A.V.I.D stand for again?
Yeah. So this is funny because D.A.V.I.D is my co-founder. But D.A.V.I.D stands for Diagnostics Assistance for Veterinary Insights and Differentials. It's like a whole name, but the whole point that we wanted to do it is because D.A.V.I.D is my co-founder's name.
Cool.
Basically, D.A.V.I.D here is another extra assistant that we give you. Imagine if you have, for example, your own internal chat GPT that has information either about the general world of veterinary medicine or specific information that you've uploaded to VetRec or about the particular case. How does this help? So for example, by default, you can ask questions to D.A.V.I.D about a particular case, and it'll go and it'll fetch the internet. But you can actually go and you can scope it down. For example, if you're an enterprise and you would like to scope things down so that people don't go to the internet and they go to the approved material of that enterprise, then D.A.V.I.D can actually be customized so that whenever it gives responses, it says, by the way, based on this article that was written by Dr. Hubert, the way that you should go and you should treat this particular case when they have this particular problem is by doing some of these things. So like the literature of like where we're pulling the information can change in real time. But it's basically a chat assistant that you can go and you can ask information either from previous medical records or your existing medical records, anything that you want to ask on.
So how would I integrate that? Let's say I'm in a large group of clinics and we have a set protocol for XYZ. How do I integrate this into VetRec? Do I send it to you guys and you build it in, or am I building a?
You can do it on your own.
A database.
So
okay.
if you get out of here, if you click the X and you click on the left side where it says configurations, and then you click on VetRec IQ.
Gotcha.
And we have a whole help center of this. This is where you can go and you can actually add documents and add information for your particular reference materials, trainings, treatments, toxins, handouts, differentials, whatever you want to have. And then you can see, for example, also that we have the snippets at the above. In the top where you have that tab, it says Documents Marketplace Snippet. This is where, again, the snippets is where I was telling you before, right? So one thing is like the documents that you want, for example, D.A.V.I.D to fetch information from. And you want the snippets, which is, for example, the little things that you want to always add in like the medical record. But here is like the VetRec IQ, if you will. It's where you can have all this repository of data that you yourself can then upload. And then we'll go and we'll look at this thing in real time with our advanced AI models and bring you that context at the right time with whatever information you wanted to basically have.
So in technical terms, I'm building a RAG-assisted AI version versus using the open model.
Yes, I didn't want to get too technical. 100%. That is exactly what is happening. It is a RAG-assisted framework that you yourself can essentially build and we'll just power it for your particular case.
Very cool. So would that mean, and did you say this is for only certain level of subscription that has this access? Or does if I'm a paid subscriber, I have this?
If you're a paid subscriber, you have all of this.
Okay, cool.
We want to democratize all of this access for everyone. And even there's just one more thing that I'll say. So if you click on the search bar at the top left, you see it says search.
Yep.
If you search here, this is actually semantic search. Okay. So what this means is that you can try searching things like what you see there. Dog that was feeling lethargic. Or you can search something like what is the procedure to handle anesthesia on rabbits that come in from this? Like you just ask a sample question and VetRec will actually search both your medical records, but also the documents that you had just uploaded there. So now we've given you an advanced AI search on top of all of your random PDFs that you have so that you don't need to go and open each PDFs and do control find and figure out where the information is. You just ask away and we'll pull up the information for you. Of course, if you try it right now, it's not going to work because you don't have information to your account. But if you were to do it, it goes and it brings all of that information contextually to you because of this framework that we talked about before that we enable for you.
Will it help me find patients if I say, who was the skin dog I saw last Wednesday?
Who is the... Exactly that. And it's funny that you mentioned that because a lot of people we are seeing that they're searching, they tell us, hey, by the way, I searched for the patient name. Or I searched for, like, they're mainly using it for a traditional search feature and not like an advanced search where you can do something like that. Like, pull me the case last week where the golden retriever got hit by a car. It'll fetch that for you. You don't remember the puppy name. You don't remember the age. You don't remember the time. You don't remember what exactly caused something. You just remember that there was an accident in a car and it was a golden retriever. Okay. That's all that you need.
So once I've built my own database, so then I'll go to D.A.V.I.D and then I can, at the moment I just have general knowledge as an option, then it will tell me your bot or split neck, whatever I've added there. They'll all pop up there.
Correct.
I can use that.
Correct.
On the general knowledge search, is that, you said internet search. Is that an internet search or is it a closed book AI again, I'm getting technical because I know, but is it the models, the LLM's own knowledge, or is it actually going to do a internet search and then, you know
It's
what
the
I mean?
LLM's models. It's the LLM's model,
It's
right?
built their knowledge. Okay.
Yeah, and we are looking into partnering with providers that can help with citations and textbooks. We know that there's some out there, but we've evaluated some of them and we haven't really liked the technical quality that we've seen so far. If we do add a provider, we want to make sure that it fits our bar of the information that is going to be displayed to the users when it comes to like citations and actual content. So this is something that we're constantly looking to see how we can improve in terms of giving those literature back. But the fact that we're the only ones that allow you to build essentially your own database and being able to build it in a way that you have your own RAG framework. And not many people will understand these things, but if you do understand these things, and this is where the challenge for us is how we can actually go and help and educate people understand the power when it comes to VetRec's customization and advanced AI. Because then it goes and you can have all these customized ways of responding to things.
Let's go through it very quickly. So I did a talk recently at a show about using AI as a clinical decision-making tool. Should we do it and how do we best do it? And the introduction of the talk was the different ways that we can use it. So if we talk AI, large language models can either use its own knowledge. So knowledge is the wrong word, but again, we'll say knowledge for the purpose of this conversation.
For the sake of the conversation, yeah.
So everything it's been trained on, which is typically the whole internet up to maybe a year or two ago, and then some specific training, whatever the OpenAI guys want to train ChatGPT, everything, it's its own knowledge, versus it can do an internet search, which is at first it uses something like a Google search, comes up with a list based on the SEO things, and then it will read the top one or two hits and then generate an answer based on that. Or you can use retrieval augmented generation, so RAG assisted, where you say, here's all my textbooks and my notes and the stuff that I like, and guide your output just using that. Rather, it still has its own brain in the background, but it's gonna the output's going to be guided by RAG. So that's what we're talking about there. Just a quick overview.
That is a great way to summarize it. So you did a great job. So. Yeah.
Thank you. All right. That is David, so that can help you make clinical decisions, which is really useful. And again, if I open this chat window that opens here, is this going to be specific to Poppy, or this is just David broad? I can ask you about anything.
It's going to be specific to Poppy. David works best when it's like specific, right? Like, because we believe that if you just want to go and search for things, you just use the search at the top left that is across all the records. But right now, if you use David, it is on specific patients that you can then ask specific questions on. Eventually, and I'll share it with you, we're going to be opening up David so that it's basically a first-class citizen of the product, so that it goes and it can ask questions across all the patients in a way that you can have that more chat-based interface where you can say, pull me all the 20 patients that I saw that had this particular thing, and then you can ask a follow-up question. What do you recommend about XYZ? And then what about it? So we want to make it like cross-patient enablement, but right now,
cross-patient within VetRec, or does that
within VetRec? No, within VetRec, of course.
Yeah, so not the PIM. So if let's say the PIMs that you fully integrated, it's not going to be able to go and search.
It has to. PIMs. The data has to come through VetRec. Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah. Okay, cool. Records.
Yeah, so Records Recap is another of these tools that we've developed where it provides the ability for the user to summarize the past medical history of an incoming patient. Okay. So we've heard from specialists and from other people that they have hundreds of PDFs that they get from a new patient that they want to see for the past 10 years of medical history. They sometimes even get like handwritten medical records, and they can upload all of this information, even handwritten records, to VetRec, and it'll go and it'll summarize the most important information in 1 to 2 pages and give you, hey, this is what's going on. And what's best, and you don't have this case right now in your screen, and you can try it later, is that you can get the summary, you can ingest, let's say, 200 pages of the past medical history of Fluffy, and you get a summary, but you can then use David to ask questions regarding that PDF. So you can ask David, hey, David, when was the last time that Fluffy had diarrhea? and it's not going to pull up Fluffy from the internet. It knows that you're talking about the Fluffy that you uploaded 200 pages worth of records, and it'll say, hey, by the way, based on this record, 3 years ago, there was the last time that it had diarrhea. I don't think that would ever be the case.
That's phenomenal. So that was going to be my question. So again, I don't see it here, but that's going to happen because I think that's so. I'm using this at the moment, but it's obviously much better if it's all in one place. But that's literally what I'm doing just with ChatGPT. I will go and download a PDF, drop it in, and then because I want to know what was Poppy's potassium levels the last 3 times I checked it. So David will do that for me.
And you can just ask that to David, and we believe that it's also more specialized and accurate because we've added those guardrails so that it provides the accurate information. So yeah.
And do I have to download the notes and then drop it in, or for the integrated softwares, can I just drag it from the PIMS?
For the integrated softwares, I love that you asked this question. For the integrated softwares, we can actually automatically pull the past medical history of patients that you have in those integrated softwares. So you don't need to download the PDF and upload it and do it again. But I will tell you, for the majority, you do need to do that. You do need to get the PDF, need to upload it, and then you do a summary.
Which is still, just for anybody listening, if you're not doing this. So, for example, my skin cases. Because skin cases are always 7 years of fucking skin history, and it's the first time I'm seeing this patient. So I don't have 2 hours to go and read everything we've tried. So I'll drop it in. And if I was using VetRec, I'd absolutely do that and say, okay, have we done a food trial? Which drugs does she respond to prednisolone? Does she get polyuria from prednisolone? What have we tried that hasn't worked? And it's phenomenal. It's so good to help me make so much faster decisions. I think this is such a cool feature. I think that is the bulk of it. The team access thing, can somebody else access my notes? So for example, what I've always envisaged would be good for a workflow is animal arrives at reception. The receptionist might start a VetRec note for it already, and anything that client tells them at reception desk, they can add to that to the notes, and then the nurse or the tech goes to do a TPR, and they add those values. And by the time I come in to the patient, I've already got some data. Is that possible to work across different people on the same patient within VetRec?
Yes, correct. So the whole way that we build VetRec is that you can create a team. In a team, you can add members that you would want to have access to all the things that you're doing within that team. So very simply, like you said, if you have a team in Dr. Hubert's Animal Hospital and you have 3 veterinarians, 3 veterinary nurses, all having an account at VetRec, they can all see each other and they can all see the medical records that each of them have done. They can even help edit a particular medical record that you created. It's all a collaborative access, and you can also control what you would want if you're an admin. Hey, I don't want everyone to edit each other or to create more templates. I want them to use my default templates, whatever it is. By default, it's a very collaborative, open environment where if you're in the same team, you can access each other's stuff.
Really, really cool. All right, I'm going to finish with a very practical question, and I'm sure people ask it all the time. Best recording quality, what do you recommend? So I'll tell you what I do. I used to start to work with my phone, but for some reason, this is not VetRec specifically, but I find that the phone would be temperamental. Sometimes some other app will take over the microphone because of some wrong setting, and it'll stop recording, versus if I just now take my laptop in with me, hit record on my laptop, because that's where I'm going to work. Have you guys figured out a perfect workflow? Like, what do you recommend?
Yeah, so we have seen some lapel microphones being used in VetRec's consoles that are Bluetooth, and they don't need to take the phone up. They just take the phone out, click the record, put the phone, and then they have this microphone that they put it here, and they just talk. We have people using the phone, and we have people using their computer. We actually recommend the phone because we've invested a lot of engineering resources on making the phone quality actually super good. Okay. And so there's a lot of these things where, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens on the phone that we've actually already thought of? Okay. And I'm not saying that we've thought of everything, but over the past 2 years, we've over-invested in making sure that if you use your phone, the experience is actually going to be very good. Okay. Yes, we've seen the cases, for example, where someone takes their phone, they put it in their back pocket with the microphone going down. And so, yeah, naturally, the audio is not going to be great. But if you have the phone and you put it on the table and, some things you get a notification in your phone or something happens in your phone, it's still going to be good quality because we've detected
that had some other apps I played with right at the beginning. That was a problem. Something would happen. I get a notification and then it would kick it off or something like that. So it's nice and stable.
No, so this is not the case. So we've worked around that. Even for if you get a call, like there's a lot of stuff that we've worked where it doesn't disrupt the audio conversation that you're having. And we actually recommend the phone.
Okay. So record on your phone and whatever I record will automatically port to the software on my desktop, laptop,
it's in the cloud.
No, of course. That's really cool. Anything else? Are you happy that we've covered everything important there, Kev?
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of stuff. Of course, happy for you to check it out and give me feedback.
Before you disappear, I wanted to tell you about my weekly newsletter. I speak to so many interesting people and learn so many new things while making the clinical podcasts. So I thought I'd create a little summary each week of the stuff that stood out for me. We call it the Vet Vault 321, and it consists of 3 clinical pearls. These are 3 things that I've taken away from making the clinical podcast episodes. My light bulb moments. 2 other things. These could be quotes, links, movies, books, a podcast highlight, maybe even from my own podcast. Anything that I've come across outside of clinical vetting that I think that you might find interesting. And then 1 thing to think about, which is usually something that I'm pondering this week and that I'd like you to ponder with me. If you'd like to get these in your inbox each week, then follow the newsletter link in the show description wherever you're listening. It's free, and I'd like to think it's useful. Okay, we'll see you next time.